So, hello everybody, and welcome here up at the BSN podcast here today. It is Tuesday, March 29th. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of the day yesterday. Got a lot of sports to get to today, coming off of a big night last night in the world of sports. Not, crazy for New York sports, but around the globe with a lot of baseball going on. Spring training continues to ramp up. We had some Yankees baseball yesterday. Yankees today again. Yankees completely smoked the Phillies today, 14-2. So a nice win to get in spring training as the Yankees and the rest of baseball continues to get ready and continues to get going for, continues to ramp up for April 7th, which is right around the corner. We're sitting here today, Tuesday. This Thursday will be 1 week away from April 7th, and the Mets will open up at, not in D.C. against the Washington Nationals, and the Yankees will be at home at the stadium against the Boston Red Sox, and they'll have 7 straight home games to start, 3 against Boston, 4 against Toronto, and the Mets start their first 2 series on the road. They'll come home later on and play the Diamondbacks, I believe, for their first home series of the season. But a lot of sports to get to today. We got the Nets on tonight, Rangers as well. Rangers hit the road for a little bit as they'll be on the road tonight in Pittsburgh against the Penguins, as once again, NBA, NHL both getting very, very close to the postseason. You got, Rangers making a, playoff push. They're in. They're pretty secure. They're third seed in the Metropolitan, right behind the Penguins. They're at 89 points. Penguins are at 90. Hurricanes are at 95. So only 6 points separate the Rangers, Penguins, and Hurricanes from the 1, 2, and 3 seeds in the Metropolitan. So Rangers continue to win games. They could get the 2 seed. They've got their spot pretty solidified, and it's all about coming down the stretch here, finishing strong, winning games, getting into the postseason healthy. Getting into the postseason on a good rhythm, on a good run with some wins. That's the biggest thing for the New York Rangers. And for the Brooklyn Nets, the Nets gotta win. Their spot is not anywhere close to being secured. The Nets are an 8 seed right now, and they gotta win games. They're 39-36. We're not playing well. We lost to the Hornets the other night. It was a terrible loss. Kyrie was awful as his first home game, and I'm going to be honest with you, he was terrible. He shot 6 of 21 from the field, was brutal. The Nets need to play better. So, Nets, Rangers tonight. Knicks were on last night. They got a win, so they extend their win streak to 4 straight. Maybe, they're winning. They're playing better, but it seems to be a little bit of a too little, too late type of thing for the Knicks with them, winning now. They're now all of a sudden winning, but it seems to be a little, too late with only about 6-7 games left in the regular season. We're going to get to some stuff on Julius Randle and the craziness around him and just the complete. I'm not even going to get into the numbers. I'm just going to talk about how much of a loser he is and not a leader. He's not a leader. He's not anywhere close to it, and the Knicks have to make a move this offseason to get Julius Randle on another team and get something in return. I don't know who's going to want him, but the Knicks got to do something. Leon Rose has got to do something to get Randle out of New York, out of a Knicks uniform. If the Knicks want to be a better team next year and a better team for the future, Julius Randle can't be part of the future plans. So, Nets tonight, Knicks with a day off. Islanders and Rangers as well. So Nets, Rangers, Isles all tonight. Knicks with a day off, and the Mets and the Yankees already played their games today. Or the Mets, I apologize. I think the Mets are tonight, 6:40 p.m. Eastern, I believe, against the Marlins. They're at the Marlins spring training home. And the Yankees played today in Clearwater against the Phillies, and they crushed them 14-2. Higgy had a home run. Judge had a hit. I believe Hicks, which is shocking, got a hit, which is surprising for Hicks. I believe Falefa, I think, he went 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. So a nice day for the Yankees to get a win as they continue to ramp up and get ready for the regular season, which, I'm how I feel about the Yankees. I'm keeping my, optimism limited. I'm expecting a wide range of possibilities this year with the Yankees. I could see the Yankees winning. I could see this team being a complete train wreck. I could see, there's definitely some potential. There's some optimism. There's also some parts of the team where things get really dark and not really what you want. So we'll see. It's kind of a for a Yankee fan, you kind of have to go into the season with expectations coming in from all over the place, where you got to expect some good times, you got to expect some really bad times, and we'll see what it all results in. That's kind of where I'm at with the Yankees coming out of the offseason. Let's get to the topics for today. We're only going to have one topic for today. Going to be a short pod. Going to try to keep it in the range of 15 to 20 minutes. We're gonna talk about Julius Randle today. I talked about him probably about 2.5 months ago, and I actually still have the notes here and the stats here that I took comparing his season to his career stats to last season. And today, I am going to talk about the numbers. I am going to get into a little bit about the stats. But I think last night, and specifically the past couple of games, have really kind of been the boiling point for Knicks fans, where it's time to go. And it's not even looking at the numbers. It's just the way he carries himself on the court, the fact that he's not a good teammate, he's not a good leader, he's not anything that, he is not the guy you want to be the leader for the young players in that locker room. That's the reality. I'll tell you why. And we'll get to the New York sports update, like I said. Nets, Rangers, Isles all tonight. So both hockey teams in action. Isles on the road in Columbus against the Blue Jackets, and the Rangers begin a little bit of a road trip starting tonight in Pittsburgh. Tomorrow night they'll be in Detroit. So front end of a back-to-back for the Rangers, and the Nets coming off a tough loss against Charlotte Sunday night will try to bounce back tonight against a Detroit Pistons team who have been awful this season. So hopefully a get-right game for the Brooklyn Nets at home. So with all that being said, this is BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. So it seems as if the Knicks, despite them even winning 4 games, and they got a really good win last night, and you can't take that away from him. In the grand scheme of things, Julius Randle has obviously is an eyesore for basketball fans in general. And I'm not even a Knicks fan, but it just gets you angry as just a sports fan in general to see a guy carry himself as poorly as he does, and to see a guy as far away as a leader as possible. And this is the guy that Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, and the New York Knicks believe is the leader for guys like RJ Barrett, is the leader for guys like, Cam Reddish and Obi Toppin and the young players on this team that are developing and getting better and ultimately gonna be the future assets and are the cornerstones of the franchise. This is the guy that is supposed to be the leader of the group. And Julius Randle has not been that leader whatsoever. And even you can look at the stats, you can look at the numbers, you can watch the game. Okay, maybe he scored. Maybe, they won last night. Instead of celebrating with his teammates, instead of handshaking the other team, he takes the ball, throws it, walks off the court with his head down. You won the game. You want to know why he's angry? Because he got benched. He's not getting playing time. His own individual stats aren't good. He's all about himself. And he's a selfish player. He's a selfish teammate. And if you're the New York Knicks, there's been many times this season where you have probably where it seems as if the Knicks hit rock bottom with Julius Randle. Well, last night was yet again another one of those moments where it seemed as if they hit rock bottom with Julius Randle. And if I'm the Knicks, and if I'm Tom Thibodeau and I'm Leon Rose, if I'm Thibodeau, I bench Randle for the rest of the season. And if I'm Leon Rose, you're getting on the phone right as this season ends and looking for trade partners. Because if the longer Julius Randle is in the locker room and the longer Julius Randle is around guys like RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, and all the other young players on the team that, by the way, got to give credit to RJ Barrett. He's been amazing the past 15, 20 games. He's been phenomenal. Last night, yet again, he was great. I know it's been a very frustrating season for Knicks fans. I'm not a Knicks fan, obviously. I'm a Net fan, but I know it's been a tough year. You hear it all around. That's been the main topic in New York sports is the Knicks and Julius Randle, and they've been on the cover of the New York Post and New York Daily News newspapers every day, and they've been on the cover for all the wrong reasons. It's either bad losses, it's either some more shenanigans with Julius Randle, it's a coaching blunder by Tom Thibodeau. They've been the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. So believe me, I know what's going on. But, in the grand scheme of things, RJ Barrett has been playing so well. And if you're a Knicks fan, I know Julius Randle, and this is to my next point, I know Julius Randle is kind of taking over the spotlight in terms of everyone's talking about him. even with the Knicks winning 4 straight and got a really good win last night at home against the Bulls. It's too little too late. The chance of them making the playoffs are slim to none. They got, 7 games? They got 7 games left, and they're like 4.5, 5 games out of getting a 10 seed. So they need to go 6-1 in their final 7. They need to hope the Hawks would need to go 1-6. So they're not going to make the postseason. It's kind of been that way for a long time. I think all the Knicks fans have kind of faced that realization. Barrett playing well, Toppin getting more minutes. I think they're starting to see, the future is definitely, there for the Knicks. But it's all about finding that guy now, that number one option, that guy that can be that leader. And Julius Randle's not the leader. And my next point, which was kind of what I was saying earlier, the last thing you want is to have Julius Randle be the surrounding, kind of the leader around these young players. Because what Julius Randle has pretty much done with the Knicks is similar to what Harden's doing did with the Nets. It's not as public as a fashion because Harden's a much bigger name playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, who have very high expectations. Julius Randle's with the Knicks. Now, the Knicks are one of the biggest organizations in all sports, but the situation's not as big as the Nets. In terms of the Nets, it was a big 3. The Knicks, it's a rebuild, it's a bad situation. The Knicks are a terrible team in the grand scheme of things, in the overall outlook. They haven't been good this season, and there's no other way to put it. So it doesn't seem as big, but it's similar to James Harden. James Harden quit on the Nets. He gave up. He gave up. He quit on the team. He did not want to be there. He stopped trying. He quit on the team. And Julius Randle, time and time again, I feel like is continuing to show little hints to the Knicks that are saying, I'm done, I'm quit, I'm done, I don't want this anymore, this is awful. And last night, yet again, he walked off the court. They won. So he wasn't even celebrating with his teammates. He walked right off the court, went into the locker room, probably showered, and left the Garden. He was probably out of there in 15 minutes. That's not a teammate. That's not a leader. That's not a guy you want to build your organization around. That is not a guy that fans should be buying his jersey. That's not your number one option. Other leaders, they're out there. They're talking to players. Now, sure, do some guys after losses walk right off the court? Yeah, some do. But after a win, and not even to acknowledge it, that just shows you how selfish of a player he is, because he didn't play well. The team won, he didn't play well. He's all about himself. He's all about the way he is. He doesn't care about the team. He doesn't care about the wins. Obviously, the pressure in the fan base has gotten to his head, because the big thumbs down situation, remember? When the fans were booing him, the big all that stuff. Obviously, he can't take the pressure. The reality is, Julius Randle's not built for New York. He's not built for New York. He's not built for the media. He's not built for the big-time stage. He wasn't really that good with the Lakers, big time. He was, better with the Pelicans, small market. Nobody talks about the New Orleans Pelicans. Goes to the Knicks, can't take the pressure. The reality is Julius Randle cannot take the pressure. And you want to know what? This might sound wild. Last year he played great. Guess what? Empty arenas. Julius Randle just can't take the pressure. He can't take the big stage. He's not good in the bright lights. Julius Randle in the dull light is great. In the bright lights, he, gets in his little ball and hides. And that's pretty much what he's been showing. It's disgusting to the fact that the Knicks, it's bad. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I don't get why they did not trade him at the trade deadline. I don't know why. And for the Knicks, yet again, you go into another offseason loaded with questions. Who's going to be your number one option next year? Is it going to be RJ? Is he ready? This is his third year. Is he ready to take that next leap? To be that elite player? Is he there yet? Is he a John Morant yet? Is next year he's going to turn into that John Morant where he's a legit number one? He's shown it, but can he do it for a full 82? And you go into the offseason questions. You got to trade Randle. The Knicks this offseason, your number one priority has got to be trade Randle. And it's bad. Like this is what I'm talking about too. It's bad when your team on a 4-game win streak and the main topic around the team is not the 4-game win streak. It's the fact that it's Julius Randle. That's when it's bad. Yet again, distraction. He's a distraction in that locker room. He's a head case. He's a loser. The L stands for loser, not leader, when it comes to talking about Julius Randle. That is the sad reality the Knicks have faced with their distrungled, I'm not even saying superstar. I'm not even going to say star. I'm just saying they're a distrungled player. Because he's trying to be a 1 when he's really a third option on a really good team. Randle on a really good team is a third option. That's the harsh reality. Whether you like it or not, that's the reality. On a really good team, he's a third option. On a rebuilding team, he's a second option. Not a 1 on any team. Knicks are a rebuilding team. He's not good enough to be a 1. We've all seen it. So just to look at some of the numbers, like I said, I'm going to look at the numbers, but I wanted to spend a lot of time just talking about just him as a player and as a person, not so much the numbers, because the numbers show it's bad, and we all understand that. When you really take a deep dive into it, he's really causing a lot of chaos. This season, he's averaging 20 points per game, 10 boards, 5 assists. Last season, just to put it in perspective, so this season his field goal percentage at 41%. Last season was 45%, so it really dropped. His three-point percentage last year was up to 41%. This season, all the way down to 30%, which is awful. It's lower than his career average. Free throw percentage last year was 81%, which was way above his career average. This season, 75%. You go to the points per game. Last year, he put up 24 points per game. This season, all the way back down to 20. Now, he is a career 17-point-per-game guy, so he is above on his career average there. But last season, to drop off like that much, if he was putting up 24 last night and this season he's putting up 23.5, that's one thing. But the fact that he's almost dropped off 4, 5, 6 full points, I mean, he's almost as bad as he was in his first year. Rebounds this season, he's averaging 10.2. Or last season was 10.2. This year it's down 0.2, not much. Last season was assists. Last season was 6 assists. This year he's averaging 5, so down about 1 assist. Nothing major. But the big things for me that stick out are the field goal percentage, the 3-point percentage, the free throw percentage, and the points are all down. Now free throws are down and assists are down, but they're so minimal. So take it or leave or whatever you want. And by the way, that's 71 games, and he started all 71. Last season, he played 71, started all 71. This year, he has played 71 and has started all 71. So, it's not like he's only played 50 this season or has been on and off the court. He's been out there. That's one thing I can say. He's been out there, but when he's out there, he hasn't made an impact. And I feel like he's made more of a negative impact than he has positive impact. So, really just, really bad. And it really is sad what it's come down to. So, we'll see how it all ends up playing out, but it's crazy to think. It's crazy to think the Knicks started the season 5-1. Their first 5 games of the season, they started 5-1. Julius Randle was struggling a little bit in those games, but they started the season 5-1. It's crazy to think the Knicks beat Boston the first game, beat the Magic second game, then lost, then won 3 straight against the Sixers, the Bulls, Pelicans. 3 of them all could be playoff teams. And in the month of December was just brutal. December was terrible. And then you want to know, February was awful. February really sunk them. They won 1 game in February, and it was that 116-114 win. Shocker. On the road out west. Other than that, they lost every game in February except 1. And they've gotten a little bit better in March. Got a 3-game win streak, 2-game win streak, 2-game win, and now what? 4 straight or 2 straight, whatever it is. So, look, Knicks are gonna miss the postseason yet again. Last year they got there, didn't win the first round, lost, and they go into an offseason yet again that's going to be loaded with questions. So, we'll see how it all plays out. But right now, Julius Randle, before you do anything, Leon Rose has got to get on the phone this offseason. Look for teams. You got to get rid of Randle. I don't even, to be honest, if I was the Knicks, I wouldn't even try to get back a great return. I get rid of him as quick as you can. Because the longer he's on the roster, the longer he's only going to hurt the future of the organization. That's the reality. So, we'll see what they do. All right, so let's get to the New York sports update here and wrap it up for the day. We got 5 basketball games on tonight. 76ers, Bucks. I'll take this Bucks. Bulls, Wizards, I'll take the Bulls. Mavericks, Lakers, I'll take the Mavericks. And Clippers, Jazz, I'll take the Jazz. Nets, Pistons tonight, back at Barclays. Nets looking to bounce back after a really tough loss against the Hornets. Nets come into this one 39-36. Pistons come into this one 20-55. Nets are 14-point favorites. The over-under is set at 234. This game goes on today, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Yes Network. I'll take the Nets. I think they'll bounce back against a Pistons team that, one of the worst teams in the league. Panthers, Canadians tonight, I'll take the Panthers. Lightning, Hurricanes, I'll take the Lightning. Blue Jackets, Isles, I'll take the Isles. Bruins, Maple Leafs, I'll take the Bruins. Wild, Flyers, I'll take the Wild. Predators, Senators, I'll take the Preds. Flames, Avalanche, I'll take the Flames. And Stars, Ducks. Give me the Stars. Rangers, Penguins tonight. Rangers come into this one 42-19-5, fresh off the game winner Sunday night at the Garden by Keandre Miller. Penguins come into this one 40-17-10. The over-under is set at 5.5. This game goes on tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can find it on MSG. I'll take the Rangers. There's some spring training action going on. Tonight we got Mets, Marlins, and Dodgers, A's as well. Yankees won today 14-2. So Yankees improved to 4-6-1 in spring training. And a nice little win today, 14-2 in Clearwater against the Phillies as the Yankees continue to ramp up and get ready for April 7th, opening day at Yankee Stadium. As for fantasy basketball, I'm currently winning 282-217. This is the championship. Today I've got going Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, and Andre Drummond. All three of those players are good to go. My opponent's got 2 players going tonight, so I do outmatch him in terms of players. So hopefully team stays healthy and performs well, and I should be on my way to a win if all those things happen. So we'll see how it all plays out. That will be my second fantasy basketball championship in 3 years. I've played. This is my 3rd year. I won the first season. Last season, I didn't do so great this year. Back going for another win. We'll see how it all plays out. All right, so that will do it for today's podcast. Trying to think. Tomorrow, I want to get to Robert Saleh. And the kind of, I think just a good thing for me would probably just be like a Jets midway offseason kind of update. Just kind of give you an update on, what's going on in the offseason, rumors and, possibly, some draft stuff. Kind of just give you an overall update kind of on the Jets offseason in general. And Giants, too. I definitely want to do that. With the short pods, though, I want to definitely take my time with those, kind of lay out what everything has, what all has happened. But we'll see. So, anyway, that will do it for tonight. For today's podcast. Enjoy all the sports are on. To the Rangers, Isles, and Nets fans, enjoy those games tonight. And I'll see you all back here tomorrow. As always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.